When the king of chaos himself tells you to calm down, you know things have officially gone off the rails. 50 Cent, the man who practically invented Instagram beef and turned trolling into an Olympic sport, just hit the brakes on the Cardi B and Nicki Minaj feud. Yes, you heard that right. The same guy who feuded with literally everyone from Ja Rule to his own son is now playing peacemaker. And if that doesn't tell you this situation has spiraled into absolute madness, I don't know what will. Welcome back to Fame Monarchy, where today we're diving into the chaos that made even 50 Cent say, "Whoa, this is too much." Buckle up, because this story is messier than a reality TV finale. So let's set the scene. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have been serving us drama for years now. We're talking about a rivalry that's had more rounds than a heavyweight championship match. But this week took things to a whole new level of nuclear. The gloves came off, the filters disappeared, and suddenly we weren't just watching a rap beef anymore. We were watching two mothers go straight for each other's throats, and unfortunately, their children became collateral damage in a war nobody asked for. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me paint you a picture of how wild this situation truly is. Imagine you're at a family reunion, right? Two cousins start arguing over who makes better potato salad. Normal stuff. But then it escalates. Suddenly, they're bringing up that time someone's kid failed a spelling test and questioning each other's parenting skills in front of the entire family. That's essentially what happened here, except the family reunion is Twitter, Instagram, and every gossip blog on the internet, and millions of people have front row seats with popcorn. Enter 50 Cent, stage left, wearing a cape nobody expected him to own. The man who once trolled Floyd Mayweather about his reading skills, who publicly beefed with his own firstborn, who made an entire career out of stirring pots and watching them boil over, suddenly decided to become the voice of reason. On Instagram, because where else would 50 make a public service announcement, he wrote something that shook the internet to its core. "I hope the girls stop fighting before things escalate. Full stop." No laughing emoji. Even the messiest rapper of them all saying this is too much. And they're not wrong. This is like Gordon Ramsay telling you your kitchen is too intense, or a Kardashian saying you're sharing too much on social media. When the benchmark for messy is concerned about your mess, you've officially crossed into uncharted territory. But let's rewind and talk about what actually pushed this beef into the danger zone, because context matters. For years, these two have been trading subliminal shots, cryptic Instagram posts, and the occasional direct confrontation. Remember that New York Fashion Week incident? That was child's play compared to what went down this week. The difference this time, they stopped aiming at each other and started aiming at the people who can't defend themselves. Their kids. Nicki Minaj, in a shocking display of below-the-belt tactics, went after Cardi's eldest daughter Kulture multiple times. We're talking about a child who's barely old enough to tie her own shoes. Nicki called her ugly and threw around the nickname Culture Vulture, like it was some kind of clever wordplay instead of what it actually was, a grown woman attacking a toddler. Let that sink in for a second. A multi-platinum recording artist with millions of fans worldwide chose to publicly insult a little girl to hurt her mother. That's not rap beef. That's something entirely different and deeply disturbing. But Cardi B, never one to back down from a fight, fired back with equal venom. She turned her attention to Nicki's only son, who fans know as Papa Bear. The accusations Cardi made were absolutely wild and crossed every line imaginable. She claimed the child can't speak, and insinuated it was because Nicki allegedly used drugs while pregnant and around him. Whether there's any truth to these claims or not, and let's be clear, there's zero evidence to support them. Broadcasting these kinds of accusations to millions of followers is reckless, dangerous, and frankly unforgivable. You're not just attacking your rival anymore. You're potentially affecting a child's life, their self-esteem, their future relationships, and their mental health. And just when you thought it couldn't possibly get worse, both women decided to write open letters to each other's children. Yes, you read that correctly. Open letters. To children. On social media. Where millions of strangers could read them. Nicki's letter to Kulture attempted to take the high road, saying the child didn't deserve this, and offering an apology. But Cardi wasn't having it. She called it a backhanded apology, and instead of accepting any form of peace offering, she doubled down. She brought up allegations about the child's grandfather, father, and uncle's alleged history of abuse. She named names. She aired what should have been private, serious accusations in the most public way possible. At that point, this wasn't beef anymore. This was scorched earth warfare with innocent bystanders in the crossfire. Here's the thing that makes 50 Cent's intervention so significant beyond just the irony factor. Throughout this entire years-long rivalry, 50 has never picked a side. When people have directly asked him who he thinks is the better rapper, who he'd rather work with, whose side he's on, he's dodged the question like a politician at a debate. That neutrality actually gives his warning more credibility. He's not Team Nicki or Team Cardi. He's team, this is legitimately dangerous and needs to stop before someone gets hurt. And given hip-hop's tragic history of beefs turning deadly, from Tupac and Biggie to Pop Smoke and countless others, his concern isn't just valid. It's rooted in real trauma that the culture has experienced. What's fascinating is watching the public reaction shift in real time. At first, people were picking sides like it was a sporting event. Team Barbs versus Team Barty. Memes were flying. Fan pages were declaring victory after each new post. But as things escalated and the children became targets, you could feel the energy change. Even diehard fans started saying, okay, this is too much. Because at the end of the day, most people, even those who love celebrity drama, have a line. And using children as weapons in an adult conflict? That's where the line is for most folks with a functioning moral compass. The saddest part of all this is what these two incredibly talented women are sacrificing for ego and pride. Cardi B broke barriers as the first female rapper to have multiple Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles. Nicki Minaj paved the way for an entire generation of female rappers and dominated a male-driven industry for over a decade. They should be celebrating each other's wins, or at bare minimum, coexisting peacefully while building their empires. Instead, they're creating content that will haunt their children for the rest of their lives. Imagine being Kulture or Papa Bear, growing up and Googling your own name, only to find thousands of articles about your mother's enemy calling you names or making disturbing claims about you before you could even form memories. So where does this leave us? With 50 Cent playing unlikely hero, warning shots fired, and two women standing in the rubble of what used to be just competitive rivalry. The question everyone's asking now is, will they actually listen? Will Nicki and Cardi take a step back, delete some tweets, issue real apologies, and protect their children from further damage? Or will pride win again, pushing this situation past the point of no return? What happens next could define both of their legacies, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Fame Monarchy will be right here tracking every development, every response, every move in this saga. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because something tells me this story is far from over. And who knows, maybe 50 Cent's next Instagram post will give us the answers we're all waiting for.